Hello students, today I am there with my new video on Pragyata Guidelines on Digital Education. These guidelines are virtually released by MHRD on July 14 in New Delhi. Dear students, some special codes are there about these guidelines. Guidelines on Digital Online Education provides a roadmap for carrying forward online education with enhanced quality. These were the lines spoken by Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Minister of Human Resources. If we see the introduction of these guidelines have been developed from the perspective of learners with a focus on online blended digital education for students who are presently at home due to lockdown. He added that these guidelines on digital online education provide a roadmap or pointers for carrying forward online education to enhance the quality of education. The minister highlighted that the guidelines will be relevant and useful for a diverse set of stakeholders, including school heads, teachers, parents, students, and other stakeholders. Right? The guidelines stress upon the use of alternative academic calendar, which is called AAC and which is released by NCERT. Okay, so let's see about these guidelines. So dear students, these guidelines actually are divided into 6 sections. How many sections? 6 sections. Okay. And if we see about each sections, in section 1 if we see, these guidelines tell us about the households having variety of situations at home. Like there are many houses which are having variety of availability of digital modes. Like there are many households which are having computers, laptops, smartphones, right? And a 4G internet connection as well as a television set with a DTH cable TV connection. Likewise, there are many other households which are having smartphones with 4G network only. They don't have other availabilities. Even there are some households which have smartphones with limited 3G or 2G or no access to internet, right? There are many such households which are not having internet connections also. They have keypad mobile simply. Or if we see, there are some other households also which are having television sets with a DTH or cable connection only. In section 1, these guidelines tell us about the conditions of the households also. It also tells us that even there are many families, households which are having only radio set or a basic mobile phone with FM, where only they can listen the audio in radio sets. And there is also such condition where the households are having no digital devices. Right? If we go onwards, section 1 tells us about the modes of education. Right? There are 3 kinds of mode of education. Like some households are there where computers, smartphones are having, as we have discussed earlier. They have internet connections also, right? Like you can see in this part, they have availability of internet, and the vastness and diversity of India is reflected in the scale at which, school education operates in the country. And as I have earlier told you, that about 95 lakh school teachers and 25 crore students characterized by geographical, socio-cultural and linguistic diversity are there. Therefore, decentralized planning and implementation is advisable for the digital education. And if we see, there are, as I told you, that there are houses which have connectivity also, but there are many other families also, and the conditions also, where they have partially online mode. What is partially online mode? Means like they have computer, they have smartphone, they are having all these things, but the regular internet is not available with them, right? And if we move forward, we see that some households are having which are having online which have offline mode, right? And where internet connectivity is not there, or I can say available with very less bandwidth. Means if internet is there, so very less bandwidth is there. So dear students, in section 1 only, it is clearly mentioned that these guidelines are what? Advisory in nature. Means there is no compulsion to the states or UTs to follow these guidelines, right? These guidelines, as you know, are prepared by NCERT, and many of the suggestions received from various states, UTs in this regard as a part of the consultation process, and that have been incorporated in these guidelines. States, UTs, that means union territories, are required to come out with their own detailed guidelines by adapting or adopting or modifying these guidelines in accordance with their requirements and assessment of the local situation. It means it is nowhere written that these guidelines are compulsory or it is as a burdensome, no one has to adopt it. They can bring the changes in these guidelines, but these are just advisory in nature. The main thing is, remember that these guidelines are advisory in nature. Means MHRD has just tried to advise all the stakeholders, right? If we move forward, section 2 is there. As I told you that these total guidelines are divided into how many sections? These total guidelines are divided into 6 sections, right? And section 2 tells us about the parameters of the digital education, right? As you can see in the image, 8 parameters have been suggested, or steps I can say are suggested by Pragyata guidelines for digital and online education. If we see the first one, that is what? Plan. According to this, the need for proper planning is much essential for the conduct of successful face-to-face teaching learning sessions as for online ones. For example, for face-to-face, the State Department plans to provide textbooks every year, they create annual calendar, assessment plan, etc. And schools make a timetable as well as plan on how to complete their syllabus. This is the process. Similarly, remember, teachers have to do planning before they take any session. How they used to make the monthly plannings, weekly plannings, yearly plannings, no? Before this situation, when there was no coronavirus. Understand? Likewise, now digitally, teachers are supposed to make plans, lesson plans, to make their teaching effective. Which kind of planning they have to do? Like they have to see the number of students in each class, how many students are there. They have to see the duration of the classes which they are going to take. They have to also see the digital devices which are available. Understand? As well as, if I discuss the major thing which these guidelines suggest us are what? The cyber safety. What? Cyber safety. These guidelines also focus on these important facts. It also discusses about the competencies of teachers. Okay? So, if we talk more, the planning, we can understand that the planning is very much important before the teacher takes the online session. It is suggested that after step 1 or parameter 1, which is plan, you all got to know that what is the first parameter or first step for digital education. The first step is planning by teacher, and then various steps are there which they have to follow. They have to just detailed planning they have to do. They have to see the number of students, students, then duration, then they have to just also motivate the students. Cyber safety also they have to keep in mind when they are planning any session. And the second session, that means the step 2 which we see, or the parameter 2 for digital education, is what? The review. Understand? In review, what it has to be done? As it is the second step, and here this would be a review of the plan. Which plan? The plan which is made by teacher. So the plan in terms of time, duration, quality of resources, how the quality is there, the resources which are chosen, what is the scope of assignments, what is the method of assignment, as well as I told you, cyber security and related safety concerns. Means all these points teachers have to see before they take their digital classes, online classes. And while undertaking a review, teachers may decide to join hands with other teachers, and they share the responsibility of talking to parents or students individually or in groups to guide them on all subjects one by one in view of saving time and the availability of technological tools with students, right? So this is the second parameter. If we go to third parameter or third step of digital education, we can see here arrange. The third thing which teacher has to do is to arrange. Like after undertaking a review of all the information and resources which have been collected, their proper arrangement and organization for their daily, weekly or monthly transaction must be done. Okay. It is also to be decided how follow-up can happen with the students in the case of teachers, and even by school heads in case of teachers. Means if we have to just think about students, so this work will be done by teachers, and if we talk about the heads, school heads, they will think this in terms of in the case of teachers. And if we move forward, the fourth one is The fourth step is guide. Okay, what the teacher has to do? The teacher has to follow this step, which is the fourth step. Guidance on the part of teachers for students and their parents is a very important step. Teachers need to inform parents or students about the themes, topics to be learnt by the students under the guidance or via self-study, whatever the case may be. Using different modes like instant messaging, SMS, teachers may guide each and every student on various topics like learning outcomes decided to be taken for the session that the teacher is planning for the students, even the themes, okay, themes or topics which help achieve progress in selected learning outcomes. And if we move for the next step which a teacher must follow, so that is yak or talk. What it is, during their guidance, their fourth step was guidance, they have done that. So now during fifth step which they have to follow, what they have to do? During their guidance, teachers must clarify that talk, that chat or discussion, etc. that must happen among the members of the groups created among students, like various kind of groups we create for the students for teaching them, right? So whatever online mode has been chosen by the teacher, what they have to do? They have to see that there must be a talk or discussion among all the stakeholders, like among students, parents and their wards, and with teachers, so that students take an interest in studying the themes and doing the activities. Okay, the sixth step which the teacher has to follow is what? The teacher has to, in sixth step, yes, the teacher has to assign. Okay, what it is? In this step 6, like after completing 2 or 3 themes, teachers can give some interesting assignments to the children. These may be which assignments? Like group assignments or individual assignments, depending upon the technological tools available to the children. Like healthy practices for wellness, status of diabetes in India. You know, there are a variety of topics which can be given to students and they can think, they can discuss about it. These kind of assignments can be given. After the teacher has assigned the work to students, what the teacher has to do? The teacher has to do the tracking. So the 7th step is track. They have to just see tracking, or they have to follow up of the given session and assignment. That is very important. Otherwise, children will lose their interest. If they do not get response from their teacher or parents on their work or assignment, teachers need to track progress either on social media like WhatsApp or by calling them and asking them to show what they have done, or if this is not possible, then by telling them that they must keep these assignments in a file and bring those to school when they reopen. All these instructions teacher must give, feedbacks teacher must give to students so that they will have interest in studies. If work is incomplete, remember, if work is incomplete, teachers may again guide them by selecting another pedagogy if the earlier one has not worked. So these kind of works teacher can do. Teacher will have to make a tracker of habits, skills, values developed in students as they have been learning education using alternative approaches. Okay, if we see the last parameter, that is what? Appreciate. The last parameter is appreciate. Here, what the teacher has to do? the teacher has to, the last parameter, that is 8th parameter, is appreciate. On every completed task, teachers must compliment children. How they can compliment? They can send message, they can call them, and they can appreciate them, right? Like we usually in real classrooms, we always say, very good students, you have done very nicely. So here what we can do, we can just send them messages, text, or even we can send the audio as well. If we send the audios, students are motivated and they just get interest, understand, in their work. So here if we see, there is a exemplar for you. Like if suppose it is an exemplar for online learning for class 4th students. Okay, so here we see that what things a teacher can do under these 8 parameters. Okay, like if we see the first one, here we see that in the planning, what the teacher is doing, the teacher prepares a lesson plan for the following, right? He prepares or she prepares the lesson plan in great detail, and after she prepares the lesson plan in great detail, what the teacher has to do next? The second parameter is review. Here teacher conducts a brief survey with children via mobile. This survey we are doing through mobile only, about their access to digital devices, and finds that various points the teacher has to find out. Which are that points? Like the teacher first finds out that there are 15 households. This is just an example I am presenting in front of you for class 4th students, and the topic is EVS. And here households have a television, smartphone with internet connectivity, and also a laptop. This review the teacher has collected. Okay, the second review is which the teacher has collected. It is what? 10 households are there which have smartphone with internet connectivity and a television, but they have no laptop. Understand? If we see the next step, in next step what we see, that 10 households have smartphone connectivity, means they have internet connectivity in smartphone, and a television also they have, but they have no laptop, as we have seen earlier. 4 households have a basic mobile, and 1 household does not have even a mobile. So this review a teacher has made. So after planning, after review, what the teacher will do? Now the third step which the teacher has to follow is arrange. Here what the teacher will do? After this survey, teacher may make arrangements in the following manners, like giving immediate attention to children belonging to households at C and D. What is C and D? In C and D, we have seen like some are having basic mobiles and even some have no mobiles. So in that kind of households, teacher will pay attention. For children belonging to households at C, that means households where they have basic mobiles, what the teacher will do? Teacher may plan calls when? Early morning on the mobiles. Why early morning? Because there is a possibility that early morning the parents may be available at home. Okay, because they go out for work and they can have reach to mobile. And teachers select a theme, like any theme from EVS, that is family. So she or he will call the parent or student and ask them to discuss with their family members about the age, what work they do, like this. So these topics they can discuss. Then what they can do? Again, teacher will call the parents or students and ask them to discuss with their family. We have seen. Then for a child belonging to a household at D, means where they have no mobile, teachers may explore contacting them via the child's friends, because it may happen that there may be many children who can have no mobile also. So what we can do, we can meet the friends of that child. After getting the contact of a student residing nearby, the teacher may explore communication channels with the households who are having no mobile, such as what we can do, we can identify his or her accessibility to a mobile belonging to a neighbor. We can have a contact of a neighbor, and the teacher will guide the parents, childs or guardians. Okay. For children belonging to household at A and B. What is A and B? Where some have internet connectivity and they have laptop also, and some homes are there where internet connectivity is there but laptop is not there. There what teachers can do? Teachers may plan to call them via Google Hangout or WhatsApp calls, etc. Teachers may create 3 groups of 8 students each and guide on the same theme, like family, if suppose the team, by asking them to discuss about their families and make a chart as discussed above. So these things a teacher can do. Fourth step is guide. Here teachers may also ask parents to show a video on the theme family to their children. They can encourage them to discuss it. This may be an individual activity wherein parents may also participate and may be motivated to discuss and talk to their children about the family. The fifth point is yak. So here what the teacher can do, they can just discuss, right? They can give scope to the children, the students for discussion. Teachers will arrange doubt clearing sessions and remain available at pre-specified time to talk the learners. The sixth point where the teachers have to adopt the step is assign. What here teacher can do? She or he will guide the children to draw portraits of her or his family members, write his or her relationship with them, prepare a family tree like this. So these kind of works can be done under these parameters. Seventh one is track. The chart or poster or data sheet that children have made that may be sent to teachers. How? Through email or through WhatsApp by the parents, and then the teacher will the teacher will track progress of students on each of the assignments and give constructive feedbacks to the learners. And the last one is appreciate. So here what teachers can do, teachers need to attend to each and every group for a few minutes. Teachers need to appreciate children, like they have to just say good, very good, excellent, outstanding according to the work of students. And parents also they have to appreciate by sending some good words. Understand? So this is what the guidelines given for the teachers, right, for the implementation of digital education. If we move forward, we also see that here the proper timing and the limits of the digital classes are also given in these guidelines, which is very, very important. As we see here that they have provided according to pre-primary, according to classes 1 to 12, classes 1 to 8, which kind of timings must be followed for classes 9 to 12. That everything is mentioned in these guidelines. Like if pre-primary is there, so not more than 30 minutes the session must be there each day. Okay, the session must be of 30 minutes. Okay, if we see class 1 to 12, they have clearly mentioned that they recommended to adopt or adapt the alternative academic calendar prepared by NCERT, and this link which you are watching here, which link which I am highlighting here, this link they can follow. Understand? And if we see the next guidelines, that is for classes 1 to 8. Okay, what it is written? Only synchronous learning may be undertaken for not more than 2 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes each on the day of the states or UTs decide to have online classes for primary. Understand? Synchronous learning, that already I had told you, that is just online learning, like conferencing a teacher can arrange. So that live classes which are there, that must not be more than 30 to 45 minutes, and only 2 sessions, not more than 2 sessions must be taken. If we see for 9 to 12, online synchronous learning may be undertaken, or live classes which they are taking, that must be not more than 30 to 45 minutes. Means 4 sessions can be taken, but here it is written online synchronous learning may be undertaken for not more than 4 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes on each of the days as decided by states or UTs. Okay, so these are how to implement the digital education, and the most important thing in present scenario is also present in these guidelines, and that are what? Cyber safety and privacy measures. Student, teacher, parents may be oriented. They must know what are the do's, what are the don'ts, means what they have to do, what they don't have to do for the security purpose. What makes students aware about the cyber bullying and how to avoid getting bullied. They should not be tensed, and also they must be encouraged to refrain from cyber bullying, because there happens that many times in open, means online classes, means if something they upload, they get bullied by other ones. So how they can be saved, this must also be guided. And the main thing I want to highlight is, do not share personal information and textual communications, videos or images of students on social media for any purpose, including advocacy and showcasing your work. Communicate often with the students with utmost clarity on do's and don'ts, what they should do, what they don't, they should not do of engaging with digital learning. Means suppose if you are for live classes, you are using any app, they must not be, they must not register themselves. Students may attend that live classes as guest. Teacher may send the links to them and they can join that. So this was section 2. Now section 3. This is what in section 3 guidelines are given for school heads, teachers, parents and students. Okay. First, if we see, there are the guidelines for teachers and school heads. Okay, here what many things are there, like need assessment, like school leaders could consider conducting an informal survey to identify various ICT facilities available at home for each child. This data could be analyzed by school leaders to group or create differentiated plans. Here just ensure that for each class, teachers and students, mode of communication, learning plans and necessary well-being support has been identified. Okay, this is told. Then in second point, if we see, that is planning. School has to take adequate sufficient measures to facilitate ICT infrastructure for teachers, right? Because teachers may get variety of problems in taking the online sessions. So laptop, tablets, connectivity, internet connectivity, everything is available to teachers or not, that must be checked by the head. Encourage and lead them in using different ICT tools in teaching, learning and assessment. Okay. It is also mentioned that here teachers implementation of digital education, they have to see, which I have already discussed for pre-primary, for class 1 to 12, 1 to 8, 9 to 12, what should be the timing each day for live classes, everything must be checked. Then cyber safety also I have already discussed, and specific guidelines related to preschool grade 1 and 2, that are also given in these guidelines. So here it is told that joyful learning should be there. Plan joyful learning experiences for digital online learning as you do for face-to-face classes. In real classes, what we do, same kind of some activities we can arrange, right? Give interesting assignments to children such as listening, reading stories followed by activities like drawing inferences, adding, changing the climax at the end, picture reading art and craft puzzles, simple observation projects, learning new words, etc. So these kind of interesting works should be given to students of classes 1 and 2. And here also the guidelines are there for senior students, what the teachers must follow. So what are these? Give 10 to 15 minutes break between 2 consecutive classes. Remember, 10 to 15 minutes break must be given between 2 consecutive classes for students to freshen up, relax, or re-energize themselves to focus on the next class. Encourage peer discussion and interaction during online classes. Develop and use formative assessments for immediate and continuous feedback. This would help the teacher and students improve in the learning process. Okay. Talk regularly to students in understanding and encouraging the responsible use of the internet. Right. These kind of points are given. And then here in these guidelines, the teacher's preparation, what the teacher's preparation should be there, that is also given. Okay. Teacher preparation for digital education is a twofold process. The first is the requirement of teacher preparation for adopting digital technology for teaching their students more efficiently. The second is to use digital medium to keep abreast of new developments. That everything is given, explore digital technologies, these kind of guidelines the teacher has got here. They should attend webinars, online training programs, online course on ICT. Understand? So these guidelines are there. Even how they should use the digital resources which is embedded in alternative academic calendar. Everything suggestion is given in these guidelines. If we see second one, the guidelines for parents are also there, that what they should do, they must totally be involved with the children. What for? Because you know very well, without the support of parents we cannot do anything. Nowadays students are totally spending their time with parents, so their physical, mental health, their well-being, parents have to see carefully, right? Like parents may interact with children on a regular basis. They should regularly talk with them. They can play with them indoor games. They can do yoga with them so that the students can be fit, right? Safety measures also should be adopted by parents, like keep TV, laptop, computer, etc. in a common area and definitely out of bedrooms. This will help in restricting usage time, and you can easily keep an eye on the child's overall usage of digital devices. Develop digital rules in consultation with children and follow it, right? So various kind of suggestions are there. And teaching and learning also should go together, that every guidelines for teachers must be given. Okay. Means for parents, sorry, the guidelines for parents are given here. And then if we move next, what is given in this section here? Yes, guidelines for students is also available, right? Balanced online offline activities the students have to do. Understand? Safety and ethics related precautions they have to follow. Like if anything they are going to send in their groups, educational groups, they must first take permission from their parents. Without the permission of parents, they should not share anything. Understand? Like through WhatsApp, if they are sending some image or any work or anything, means under the guidance of parents they have to do that. Then supporting online learning of children with special needs, that is also mentioned in these guidelines. Create or curate and share content, and measures to be taken for them are clearly mentioned in these guidelines. Okay, so overall we see that Pragyata guidelines is actually the guidelines for all the stakeholders, whether they are teachers, whether they are school heads, whether they are parents, or whether they are students, right? So if we see this section here, they have mentioned all these things. Then afterwards, if we see, like for I was telling you about the measures to be taken for the children with special needs. So here what? While creating learning groups of students for online teaching learning, as far as possible, separate groups for such students should be made. Understand? According to the guidelines, this is suggested. Okay. And there are many more things which can be done. What that is? Like prepare chapter briefs in advance so that the same may be shared with children with special needs. Prior to actual group teaching in online modes, care should be taken to prepare these briefs in multiple formats such as text, audio, voice recording can be done, audio or with visual support that can be sent to support them so that they can understand. They may be encouraged to watch programs in sign language. You understand? Sign language is very much important for these children. Understand? For example, the NIOS sign language TV channel is there. Other such programs are there in which sign language is used. That can be shown to them. Okay. So, if you read that, you will get to know in detail. Okay. If we see section 4, that is the guidelines for physical health and mental wellness during the digital education. You can see the figure. It is told that how the children or the teacher or whoever is using the online modes, digital education mode, how they should sit. This is the right posture. How means they should sit, what gap should be there, right? What should be the posture? As you can see the image, it is clear to you, right? That the posture and practices a person adopts throughout a day while using digital devices can have a significant impact on our health, right? So how to sit on a table for learning by laptop or mobile is very important. So you see this image, it will be clear to you. This posture, that is a wrong posture. You should not sit like that. If we see, if you are just continuously attending the class, this is wrong. 20 minutes you should attend the class, 8 minutes you can stand up, then for 2 minutes you can walk. So in this way you get refreshed. How to sit, how to stand, how to move, do's, don'ts, everything is mentioned here. Like if you are sitting for long hours, after that for some time you stand, then again you sit, again you stand. So this must be done. It's wrong process that you are just sitting all the time. Okay, it will affect your health, right? Same way here also, straight backbone should be straight when you are sitting. It should not be bent like that, right? And if you have tab or if you have mobile, you should just sit straight away, not like bending position you should have. Okay, so these figures if you see, you will understand. So let's move to section 5. Guidelines for states and union territories is also given. So what is mentioned here? Need assessment and digital resources information is given in this section. Okay, so what is need assessment and planning is as mentioned here. Design and develop need based strategies based on the availability of human resources and digital infrastructure, needs of students, teachers, parents and community to create appropriate digital learning environments. Okay, that must be done. Prioritize capacity building of various stakeholders to adopt digital education. Then depending, what else is mentioned here in this need assessment and planning? Here depending on the model identified by states, various communication platforms like which they are using WhatsApp, Telegram, regular phone call, etc. or learning management system, Moodle, Google Classroom could be chosen. Means any one mode should be chosen for the students. Okay, So how to assess, how to plan the live classes, synchronous classes, everything that is mentioned here. Lesson plans must be prepared with detail of each week's learning goals, associated content from digital platform, public platform, assessment strategies. These things are available here. Okay, if we move next, in this section, that is section 5, digital resources, that is mentioned. Its information is given. So digital resources like Diksha, e-Pathshala, NROAR, NDL, e-content portals of different states, everything is mentioned in section 5. So if you read these guidelines in detail, you will get to know about these things. Here NROER is what? The National Repository of Open Educational Resources. Okay, these are also developed by NCERT. You can see many names are given here. So these digital resources are mentioned. So let's move to section 6, that is National Initiatives for Digital Education and Teacher Preparation. This is the last section in these guidelines and very important section, because this section just highlights the guidelines for it highlights the national initiatives, okay, for digital education, which initiatives has been taken by our nation, that are mentioned properly in these guidelines. So teachers may also take help of this. Like if we see first one as mentioned here, you can see PM eVidya program that is launched on 17th May 2020 under the PM eVidya program. Okay, it is what? To unify all efforts related to digital, online or on-air education, benefiting nearly 25 crore school-going children across the country. The second one, if we see, means in this only PM eVidya program, we see many programs are there. Like you may have heard this Diksha. This is what? One nation, one digital platform, and Diksha can be accessed by following this link. Understand? If you will follow this link, you can access Diksha, and there you can register yourself with email ID. The QR codes imposed in textbooks provide a ready gateway for any new modified content. You will get many contents also related to your books from classes 1st to 12th. Okay, so this is also a program, an app which you can even download by Play Store also. And TV channels are also there, like Swayam Prabha channel is there. It is a group of 32 DTH channels devoted to telecasting high quality educational programs. The programs cover school education across grades, providing modules for teachers training as well as teaching and learning aids for children of India through 4 channels to help them understand the subjects better and help them in preparing for competitive exams for admission to professional degrees. Okay, so this channel also is there, and one is Swayam. What is that? Under the Digital Indian Initiative of Government of India, NIOS. What is NIOS? That is the National Institute of Open Schooling. Okay, formerly known as National Open School. So they have NIOS has been identified as one of the partners of the National MOOC initiatives. What are MOOC? MOOCs are the massive open online courses. Okay, so MOOCs initiatives for study webs of active learning for young aspiring minds. Swayam, the objective of this effort is to take the best teaching, learning resources to all, including the most disadvantaged. And we see that NCERT has launched 34 online courses for students from classes 11-12 and teachers on the Swayam portal. Right? So this can be accessed by following these links which I have provided here. Next one, we see online coachings are there, like IIT PAL, that means IIT Professional Assisted Learning. Okay, it is a series of lectures prepared by IIT professors. So these are also there, videos are there, okay, which are broadcasted on Swayam Prabha channel, right? And the next one is radio and community. Radio is also there. Internet radio, as you know, is an audio service that is accessible from anywhere in the world. So Mukt Vidyavani, that is MVV, that is open education radio facility, will provision educational and informational content for better learning. The web radio will ensure learners with a stream of audio that can be paused and replayed. So here Radio Vahini is also there. CBSE podcast are there, by which the students may take help. Okay, and special e-content are also there for visually and hearing impaired. Okay, these are the links provided here. So this is Pragyata guidelines, right? So where they have just given the advisory how the digital education can be implemented successfully. Hope you have got a little help by this video. I have just tried to just introduce these guidelines. You can read these guidelines in detail, and especially teachers, even the heads of school and students and parents, they must read that, and they should they will get help in this way. Okay, as now the education is in this form only, it is digital. Hope you have understood. Thank you very much. तू नाटक क्यों करता रहता है? जब मैं कोई काम करूंगी कूद रहा है बंदर जैसे, देखो करते नहीं बन रहा, हर कुछ लिखा हुआ है उसमें। इतना बुरा मारूंगी ना समझ में आ जाएगा। टाइम पास कर रहे हैं वहां बैठ के, क्या देखो नहीं समझ में आ रहा? सब कुछ तो बुक को पढ़ो, पूरा चैप्टर पढ़ो वाला, अपने आप तुमको आंसर मिल जाएगा। वो तो तूने नहीं किया, अब भी देखो बताती हूँ मैं, आधे घंटे का टाइम दे रही हूँ। बैठ के बस मैं देख रही हूँ कि मतलब जब दिखे कि मम्मी अब कुछ नहीं कर सकती मम्मा, तो बस नाटक करो। ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या करेगी? मार तो डालेगी नहीं, सिर्फ डांटेगी। बदतमीज लड़का।